I was doing some research on some stories that I wanted to cover a little later today, and I saw this story that broke from the Census Bureau a couple of days ago, and it says more counties saw population gains in 2023. But the thing that no one's talking about is that everyone's leaving blue states for red ones. All right, more counties saw population gains in 2023. All right, so let's just get to the bottom line. Let's see where people are moving from and where they're moving to. So these are the counties with the highest levels of net domestic migration. In other words, where people are moving to and from. So here are the top 10 counties with positive net domestic migration, meaning people are moving in. And here are the ones where people are moving out. So the top county that people are moving into is Polk County, Florida, and the top, and both in 2022 and 2023. And what the top county people are leaving is Los Angeles County, California. So people are going from these blue counties all the way to these red counties. So let's look at the counties where people are leaving. Los Angeles, Cook County, Illinois, that's Chicago. Kings County, New York, that's Brooklyn, New York, Brooklyn, New York. Queens County, New York, Queens, New York. Miami-Dade County, that's blue Miami. Bronx County, New York. So wow, so New York is three counties where the most people are exiting. We're getting the hell out of there. Orange County, Florida, blue. Dallas County, Texas. I would give it a purplish, but I'd say red, just to be fair. San Diego, it's as blue as it gets. And Santa Clara, California, blue. So people are leaving all these blue places and going to, let's see where they're going. Montgomery County, Texas, red state. Pasco County, Florida, red state. Collin, Texas, red state. Denton, Texas, red state. Williamson County, red state. So Arizona, which is purple, so you got a purplish Arizona here. Fort Bend County, Texas, red state. Florida, red, and South Carolina. So the government's own data shows that people are fleeing blue states to red states. Now, the problem is that when you go to these blue states, people, I think, fail to realize how bad sometimes the policies are in these blue cities. I lived in a blue city the majority of my life, right? I was in New York and I moved to Texas. But in New York, I can see how this issue developed. The migrant crisis, the extremely high taxes, extremely high rents, and all these other things that occur in a blue state like New York, or a blue city like New York. You don't have those things in Texas. You don't have those things. You have the light on crime policies. New York has bail reform where literally somebody can assault you, get out and assault someone else. I think they had one guy who assaulted 6 people in one day, right? So you have the light on crime policies, you have the extremely high taxes, extremely high property value. It just makes it far for people to live there. So people with means who can leave. That's what I did. I was easily able to cut a check and say, I'm out of here. But not a lot of people can do that. I feel for the people, I'm going to toast to the people who are still there. They're still fighting a good fight, but you got to get those liberal maniacs out of there who are giving the migrants $10,000 bank cards and forcing you to leave. Because don't forget, who's paying for those cards, all that money that they're giving to the migrants? It's the taxpayers. That's why they're out of there. You know who did a good video on this? Breaking Points. Let's listen to some of what he had to say from Breaking Points.
COVID has had many long-lasting impacts on American society that we haven't yet fully grappled with, from learning loss as a result of school closures to the enduring effect of hybrid work with white-collar workers. But my personal favorite subject really is the vast internal migration that has taken place in the U.S. over the last 3 years, which is going to completely redefine the America of the future, from our economy, our demographics, and our electoral map.
Now, I think the key point to this is the electoral map, because what I showed you from the census is showing that places like New York, right, 3 of their counties, because those are three boroughs in New York, Queens, the Bronx, and Brooklyn, they're losing massive amounts of people, and they're going to places like Texas and Florida. So that gives all those congressional votes and those congressional seats to Florida. Florida's going to gain seats in the next census. Remember, so for those of you who don't know, every 10 years in the United States, we have to do a census, and they reshuffle the apportionment to our legislature, the House of Representatives. So how many representatives you have is dependent upon how many your state population. Texas last time got 2 more. They're about to get some more. Florida's going to get a whole bunch and the places that are losing Like California used to have 55, now they're down to 52. And they're losing hundreds of thousands of people a year. So that means states like Texas and states like Florida are going to eventually grow to the point where they're going to have a lot of representation in Congress, those ruby red states. But now let's also remember too, those are blue voters who are leaving those places. So now there is some negative effects, I would say, because you have them going to places like Texas and turning it purple. Like Texas is trending to eventually be purple. So if that happens, it just kind of sucks because you had all these people who left Democratic policies going to Republican states for sanctuary, get there, and then vote blue and let the same thing happen there. But, you know, it is what it is. I vote red. I'm going to be voting red because I think I just think right now, based on the policies that are being put forward, blue is just a disaster. But I voted blue and I voted red. I voted for Obama. So, you know, I go back and forth. I voted for Giuliani, which is, but, you know, I go back and forth. And I think at this point in time, if you vote with your pocket and vote for the side that makes the most sense, I don't think there's any question. But I think that's not just a universal thing. You have to, you know, every race and every place has its things, right? You're gonna, like, for instance, if I'm in a certain place where the Republican is just awful, I'm gonna vote for the Democrat. But if I'm in a place where there are Democrats is awful, I'm voting for the Republican.
New release of census data tells us that a vast internal migration, not seen since the days of World War II, is taking place with really not that much paying attention at the national level. Newly released data from the Census Bureau at a county by county level presents a stunning picture of how people with the ability and means are fleeing different parts of the country for others. Of the top 10 counties in the United States that experience annual numeric growth in 2023, a stunning 8 are in the state of Texas. The other 2 are Arizona and Florida.
This is a top numerical vote, just based on numbers. So the other one was percentage. So let's look at that, because I actually was looking at that data before. So this is net domestic. So that's people going in. That's what we looked at before. So net, because don't forget, people still move into these places even though people are moving out. But net. So let's look at this. These are, he was looking at the numbers. So where the most people have moved into. So the most populous counties. So LA County is the most populous, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to know about that. Any percentage growth, we don't want to see that. What was he looking at? He was just looking at, it was a comparison chart. Maybe I missed it. Go back here. All right. Okay, so this is what he's talking about. So the top 10 counties in annual numeric growth. That means you have the most amount of people going to the county and expanding. Harris County, Texas. For those of you who don't know what Harris County is, that's Houston, Texas. Collin County, Texas. Wow, they got huge growth. Montgomery County, Texas. Maricopa County, that's a big county. Florida, Polk County. Wow, Texas, it's only Texas and 2 other states. So people are flooding into Texas, like insane amounts of people are flooding into Texas. Wow. So those are the top, so what is it? 1, 2, 3, that's 8, right? Arizona and Florida, only Arizona and Florida. So 8 of the top 10 are all from Texas. So let's see about the ones where percentage growth, resident population. Where's the one where the people are leaving? So here the top 10 counties where it's on decline. California, New York, the top 3. New York. Wow. Look at all these Democratic cities. Look at this. California, New York, Kings County, New York County, Bronx County. All of that. Done. Wow. Insane. Cook County is Chicago. Pennsylvania, Philadelphia County, Orange County. All these are Democratic strongholds, and people are fleeing in mass. Wow.
Especially noteworthy is that the Arizona county is Maricopa, which was the largest and so critical in the last election, and Florida's Polk County ranked at number 5. Where are these people coming from? It's also clear, though, when you take a look at where the largest outflows are happening. The county which lost the single most amount of people in 2023 was Los Angeles County in California, followed up quickly by Kings, Queens, and Bronx County in New York State, and then Cook County in Illinois. In other words, LA, New York City Metro.
Now, I like how they're showing the wrong graphic. But he's right, though. He's right. All these blue cities are losing people like crazy.
Chicago, Philadelphia County, the city of Philadelphia, next on the list at number 4. Then Wayne County, Michigan, where Detroit was. Finally, San Diego. Are you sensing a theme? You got major cities
Yes.
that have high levels of crime, housing affordability, and in metropolitan areas that are losing hundreds of thousands of people now, on top of the hundreds of thousands already lost. That confirms the 2021 to 2022 trend of net migration loss from the Northeast and the Midwest, with people heading in droves to the South and the West. The overall migration center of gravity of this country is rapidly moving away from the coast and much more into the heartland and to the Sun Belt specifically. Florida has experienced stunning growth. The census actually says 96% of Florida's 67 counties had population growth in just 1 year, from 2022 to 2020.
That's insane. 96% of Florida's 67 counties. That's wow. Grew. That shows you people are flying. People are running to Florida. Take me to Florida. Now, you know, we always hear bad things about Florida, too. Don't say gay bill. This. Florida, Ron DeSantis is destroying America. People are going there in droves. Same thing with Texas, right? Texas, no abortion, it's racist. Oh my God. People are flying there like it's out of, wow. And this whole thing we have on the bottom, COVID effect pushes people away. No, it's not COVID. It's the policies of the Democrats. That's just what it is. And everything he's talking about. Well, unemployment rate, number one. Then we got to go with number two, affordability. You can't live there. It's too expensive. San Francisco, it's too expensive. New York, it's too expensive. And let's not forget about the crime. So if you can, do you want to stay in some place where you're paying double the taxes, double the rent, and you're more likely to get robbed versus going someplace where you're spending half the rent, you're making twice as much money, opportunities are crazy, and on top of that, they hold people accountable for criminal activity. It seems like a no-brainer. It seems like a no-brainer.
Similar percentages actually experienced in Idaho and in the state of Tennessee. Population loss from major metropolitan areas to Florida and Texas plus smaller states like Idaho and Tennessee is significantly changing already the politics in those states. We've seen this happen, for example, in the state of Georgia. You had a former red state that is now fully purple, showing major metro growth in the city of Atlanta. Florida and Texas remain solidly red, but with very different red coalitions of voters that are delivering these victories. And same thing in Arizona, which has become fully purple. What really I see from the map is not just a rejection of the ultra...
See, and that's what I was talking about before. Those people who are leaving, they're leaving blue policies that they voted for to these red states, but they're going there and voting blue. That's what changed Arizona purple. That's why Texas is getting more purple. And that's why eventually Florida will go purple. Because eventually, if you got all these people from these blue states running down there, Georgia is a great example. Got all these people running down to Georgia, it turned it purple. So it's both a positive and negative.
Blue metropolis model, but it is one of hope that I always try and highlight in these monologues. A lot of this just comes down to the cost of living, housing, and accessibility to the American dream. I don't think it's an accident. When you overlay a housing heat map on the most expensive places to live in the US, they almost exactly one-to-one match up with the places that are losing the most amount of people. Cost of living is a math problem that people are not willing to put up with anymore, especially in places where much of their quality of life was eroded by crime. The story of just simply being able to live and be safe is so...
I think this is accurate. The money we were making in New York, let's say if it's at $100,000, it would essentially give us $200,000 worth of buying power in Texas. So, and the only thing we did was move. So by moving to Texas, the money that we were making, the money we had, essentially gained value because the cost of living in Texas was so low. That it was like an insane number. If they're right, if people who have the ability to move and have any type of cash, and knowing that, hey, if I got $10,000 in the bank by moving to Texas and cost of living, that's essentially is effective like $20,000 in the bank, because it costs, instead of my rent being $5,000 or $4,000, it's $1,000, right? Instead of paying $20 for dinner every night, I get to pay $10. That makes a difference. And it's cheaper in Texas, and it's cheaper in Florida, and it's cheaper in Georgia than it is in New York and California. But those prices and things and those housing costs aren't because of some magical being. It's because of the policies up there in those places. And the taxes in New York, like for instance, in states like Texas, they don't have an income tax, they have a sales tax. So you're getting hit on the sales tax. But in New York, they have an income tax where you're paying money from your income, and they have a sales tax. So you're getting hit double. Some of the highest taxes in the nation are both California and New York. So of course people are going to leave in droves.
So basic that should be accessible to everyone, which is where I'm really going to end this on the same note I always do. I'm genuinely happy for friends and others who have been able to leave major cities for the Sun Belt or for the West. They have a better life. We also can't forget about the people who are already there, or those who are just too poor or who lack flexibility to move. The single best policy we can pursue is optionality and affordability. It's the best way to ensure that those who don't want to stay aren't priced out of their own homes, and those who want to leave can do so without it being zero sum for work.
Listen, I agree. I think people who leave left, but my only critique of this whole thing is that I think people who move, like me personally, I moved to a red state because the policies were better, the whole environment was better. I'm not going to come here and now vote blue. I'm going to vote red. And the reason why I'm going to vote red, because I want to keep the good times going. Now, if things can happen and things can change later and I can say, the Republicans aren't doing what I want to do, I'm going to vote blue for this particular thing. It's possible. It can happen. But why would I leave a state where I had no choice but to vote blue and it was all a disaster? Now coming to Texas, I don't think I'm voting blue. I don't think I'm going to vote blue. Matter of fact, I will not be voting blue. I'm voting for Abbott. I'm voting for all the red politicians. And the reason why is because I've experienced. I understand what it's like. And I hope people who are fleeing, like me, from those blue crap holes like New York and Los Angeles, when they come and they say, wow, this is a better life, this is a better place to raise my family, they also remember who they're running from. They're running from the D's, and they're running to the R's, no matter what they tell you. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all that great YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.